Good evening, all. On behalf of Honeycomb School of Creative Studies, a warm welcome to this webinar on emotional intelligence. I want to start off with a quote by Tara Mayer Robson. It's a very profound quote, which says, I quote, "When awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life." So just for you to ponder upon. It's a very profound statement. My name is Mithun Prabhu. I am an IT professional and a passionate travel photographer myself, and I handle the PR and marketing of Photoshop and Live Shots brands, which is owned by Honeycomb Creative Support, a 13-year-old marketing communication agency based out of Bangalore, having offices in 3 cities, in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, and Mumbai. But we cater across to clients within the country and outside the country. We help professional photographers and aspiring photographers, hobbyists, to acquire knowledge in different areas of photography. We have been conducting various workshops, exhibitions, and seminars, especially on photography in various cities till few months back. But due to the pandemic, all our physical events have been turned into online, whether they are webinars or panel discussions or workshops. In fact, this is the first time that we are doing a non-photography based webinar, as you have rightly guessed and seen the topic, because till now we have been more or less focused also on photography based webinars, because we thought that we in fact felt that it was a very apt topic for today's pandemic situation that we are in. In fact, one of our friends from Mizoram just mentioned about that as well. And I personally think it's a topic of 2020, not just topic of the day. So we all need to help to understand how to deal with these situations gracefully and turn out stronger, even stronger than the virus and its after effects. That's what we believe. So that's why this session. Thank you so much, all of you, for taking time this Saturday evening. I know that it is relatively early in the evening. Some of you might have plans. But thank you very much for attending the webinar in large numbers. We already see nearly 220 odd people into it. We had massive registrations as well, and I'm sure that the time is just on, so a lot of folks will keep joining in between. For the past 2 months, we have hosted nearly 10 webinars and 3 masterclasses and workshops from different genres of photography topics. During our August, we also did our International Photography Week 2020, which most of you joined. In fact, there is a lot of common audience who are photographers, who are non-photographers in this audience, and I know a lot of you were there. I can recognize from the names itself. We were overwhelmed with the love that all of you have shown, and the feedback post those. So we have been taking those feedback positively, and a lot of you wanted to have different topics. So that's why we thought we will start off with this, and as we progress into the future, you will find Honeycomb School of Creative Studies will come up with many more topics like this. So your feedback, naturally helps us grow stronger and more relevant content that we can get you from time to time. Even for this webinar, like I was telling Naufal just some time back that we nearly have 850 odd registrations already, and we can see I think nearly 250 of you already joined in. That itself is a massive number, like I was saying. So thank you again, all of you folks. And at this stage, I want Vinay to put in a poll, the first poll. So please be ready to answer the poll. Yeah, here it is. So kindly vote your options. The question is, what is your current knowledge on emotional intelligence? It's perfectly fine. You have no idea, you have some knowledge, you are a beginner, or even if you're an expert, maybe you're teaching, maybe you're practicing, whatever it is. We'll give you 60 seconds. Wonderful that we are already seeing nearly 100 responses. That's really fast. Great. So all those of you who joined in now, in case there is a poll on the screen, kindly use to exercise your options. The question is, what is your current knowledge on emotional intelligence? So I'm seeing some interesting numbers. Okay, nearly 150 plus people voted. So folks, please vote in another 10 seconds before I close. Yeah, Manjeet, you don't have to mention in the chat that it's first time. That's no worries. Absolutely perfectly fine. Thank you, Manjeet, for joining. Okay, so let me just give another maybe 5 seconds because I see still people putting in their votes. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me just close. Okay. And Sampada, so as you see on the screen, and all of you, I'm sure, it's uh, with brief knowledge and no idea, it's nearly 65 odd percent. So that's a big audience, and understandably so. So I think you have a wonderful audience today to explain what you want to share.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let me just close the poll for you. Okay, so we want to welcome Sampada Prabhu, and HR professional and a passionate trainer. She brings in more than a decade of experience in the field of professional services, human resources, and training, and is also a trained Kathak dancer. She is passionate about bringing a change to society and a woman of substance through her positivity and grit. A hands-on mother and believes in spreading happiness through love and affection. She is a corporate trainer herself, dealing with mid to senior levels of leadership programs, trainings, as well as on the grassroots levels on various soft skills, team building, and various kinds of training. She has conducted, in fact, multiple workshops in the past on various topics, touching the lives of many. And many of her students, whoever she has coached and trained in the past, are still in touch with her, as she also coaches them offline sometimes, as and when the need arises. I'm delighted to welcome Sampada again to this webinar on behalf of everyone. Over to you, Sampada.
All right. Thank you so much, Mithun. And I'm super excited to be here today and to see a participants list of close to 270 people. That's overwhelming, my friends. A very good evening to each one of you, and specifically a very good morning and good afternoon to all my participants who've connected from across the globe. It's a pleasure to note that all of you have spent your quality time on Sunday, or rather on a Saturday, and invested in your personal development. And that itself is encouraging to me right now. I think Mithun has spoken enough about me. I'm going to keep it short, right? As you see the slide, yes, a decade of experience, largely in the field of human resource and predominantly in learning and development. Something which I would like to specifically mention here, that throughout my industry experience in various corporate sectors, I got an opportunity to travel across the globe. I have traveled to countries apart from India. I've traveled to Belgium, Germany, several locations in US, Canada. And what has happened through this is this introduced me to a lot of different cultures. And what was more interesting here to note was that through these different cultures, I got introduced to different manifestations of behaviors and how people responded and reacted differently when they came from different cultures. This was absolutely fascinating. And I think this was one of the triggers for me to start my own firm, Knowledge Trek Consulting, which I started in 2016. And what we deal predominantly is in the area of learning and development, recruitment, as well as HR consulting. Something unique, as you all can see in the slide, I have been fortunate enough to train the Indian women's cricket team on teamwork and team collaboration. And that's something, was an amazing experience for me in my life, apart from several others. So that's a quick, brief introduction about me. What is in it for you in this session? Let's have a look at that. Yes, you all know that it's a 90-minute webinar. And what am I going to do in this 90 minutes? I would be talking to all of you for about 60 to 70 minutes. And the structure of the program, as Mithun already mentioned to all of you, is going to be that there are going to be a series of polls that we're going to be engaging all of you with. There are going to be 3 videos which I would be playing for all of you. I would like to make a couple of disclaimers here. All the 3 videos which I would be playing are actually going to be in Hindi. Now, there's one video which has subtitles, the others don't. But the objective for each one of you here today is to note that you don't need to understand the video. You got to get in, you got to get connected with the emotions that are displayed in this particular video, right? And I think whichever part of globe that you're connecting in, you will be able to connect with the emotions that are going to be shown in these videos. Apart from that, what am I going to do? Let me tell you, you don't have to be worried at all. This program is absolutely at a basic level. It is an introduction to emotional intelligence. And as I see the survey, I see most of you are at a beginner level, right? Do not have an idea about this particular concept. So you're in the right place at the right time. You would be knowing the concept, or you'd get introduced to the concept of emotional intelligence. You'll know what is emotional intelligence and why it is required. You will also get to know its impact in all the facets of our life, whether it be personal, whether it be promotional, and how it is, directly related to the outcome of what I want to achieve in my life. You will also experience that, yes, after attending this webinar, I would love to dive deep and learn more about this concept. And that is what you would learn through this webinar today. I'm not going to be using any inventories, any theories, any metrics, any models, right? It's plain and simple for you to get connected with your emotions and emotionally get connected in this conversation today. So one more disclaimer before I proceed. I am going to be absolutely slow when I speak, because this is going to be an intense session. And for each one of you to get connected with it, I am going to be very, very slow, right? So again, a warm welcome to all of you. And as we proceed, I'm going to make all of you do an activity with me. And I request everybody to consciously do that if you want to experience change. I want all of you to close your eyes. Please close your eyes and experience or relive a situation from your past. One of the most difficult situations which you have dealt with. And consciously, it has to be a negative situation. And why I say negative? Because it actually made you run through most of your negative emotions in your mind. Emotions of frustration, irritation, questioning, overload of emotions overpowering you. A lot of questions that came, you did not have answers. You were hurt. Recollect the people involved in this situation. What was your relation with these people who were involved in this situation? You had to face the situation head on. You had no choice. You tried to run away from it. You could not, but you had to face it. And you faced it. And once you faced it, there were a couple of emotions that were running through your mind post you experiencing and addressing that particular situation. I want you to think of that, how you felt after you experienced that situation. I want all of you to open your eyes again. I know it would have been a traumatic journey right now for you to go back to your experience and relive that situation. But I would request Vinay to put on the next poll for me. And I want each one of you to respond and tell me how you exactly felt after experiencing that situation or after dealing with that situation. Now, I am restricted with only 4 options. Try to see which is the closest to this, to the way you experience the situation. And I would request you to please tick one option which is the closest to your emotion that you felt. And we'll run this poll for the next 30 more seconds.
Wonderful. We're seeing already 170 people voting. So
Very
guys,
nice.
please use your voting options. The question is, what was your feeling after you dealt with that situation? Were you relaxed, frustrated, guilty, or ashamed? Thank you, Dimple, for your feedback.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'll just end the poll in next 5 seconds.
Very nice.
Okay, so here we go, and I'm sharing the results with everyone.
All right. So I see that I have about 44% of the people were frustrated. And the other 17 or 18% of people felt guilty or ashamed with the way they dealt with that situation. While yes, the positive side is that I have 37% of people who were relaxed. Now, for the audience who are in the negative emotion right now, you might be feeling that if given a chance, I could have dealt with this situation differently. Probably could have experienced a positive outcome. Situations drive emotions, and emotions manifest your behaviors. The very fact that you feel that you could have dealt with the situation differently means that you could have managed your situation well, which also means that sometimes, or rather most of the times, we tend to lose control over our emotions and they override us and the emotions take over completely. I would like Vinay to put the next poll, and the next poll is going to be, do you tend to lose control over your emotions often? Remember the word, do you tend to lose control over your emotions often?
Yeah, so 60 seconds again for marking your responses. For those of you who are unable to see the poll, it's actually on your screen. Sometimes what really happens is if you're in a browser instead of an app of Zoom, you may or may not be able to see it. So if there's a way for you to check that option, probably just check. But yes, I think most of you are marking your polls responses. So I think you're able to see. Wonderful. Okay. So we have more than 300 people already, Sampada.
Wonderful. That's quite encouraging.
Right, another 15 seconds. Please use your options. Most of the time, never, rarely, or quite often. Please select one of those options. Another 5 seconds. Georgie, if you can give Maria the Zoom link. It's in the chat.
Sure.
Okay, let me just stop the poll and share the results.
Wonderful. I'm quite fascinated with the 2% of people who said they never lose control over their emotions. I mean, amazing. I think you have actually, walked the first step of being able to manage your emotions well. But the area of concern is for the other set of people who tend to lose control over their emotions, which is more than, I think, 80% or 90% of the people, 98% of the people. Right? And the very fact that these numbers are in front of me, which means that we are all normal human beings. And this is all happens with normal human beings until and unless you have consciously worked on your emotional intelligence. So here, I formally welcome each one of you to experience this beautiful journey on emotional intelligence. And as we proceed further, we have an interesting video coming your way. And as I have told you earlier, this is going to be in Hindi and it has the subtitles with it. Please try to connect with the emotions of this video and then we will proceed. Over to you, Mithun.
Right, I'm just playing it. Just keep a minute. Just let me know if you can hear the sound. No? Okay, 1 minute, sorry. I can see. Can you guys hear it?
No, Mithun, we are not able to hear it.
Okay, what's wrong then? Just 1 minute, sorry.
Please ensure you share the volume also. I think maybe just check that.
Yeah, I'm just.
Tell me if you can hear now. No?
No, we're not able to hear the volume.
Okay, 1 minute, sorry. Let me check. But you can start give me.
No problem. While Mithun is putting up the video, as I said earlier as well, that don't try to connect with the lyrics of whatever is being said, because that's in Hindi, and I think an Indian audience will be able to comfortably relate with it. But yes, people from across the globe, I would request you to connect up with the emotion, and I think that is the crux of the video, why I'm playing it right now.
I'm sorry, just give me a moment. Something that
No problem, Mithun. So it's amazing to see that, I have people from across the country, particularly in India. So I have people joining in from Mizoram to Ludhiana, to a lot of members from Maharashtra. I have people coming in from the south. It's amazing to see that. And particularly now huge number of people coming in from Philippines. Quite astonishing. So please bear with us for another 2 minutes before we get started with the video. Oh yes, I have people from Odisha, Jalandhar, amazing. Mumbai, Chennai, yep, all right. Ahmedabad.
it's okay. It's okay. You hear now?
No, we're not able to hear the audio, Mithun. I have people from West Bengal. Very nice. Which are the other geographies outside India that I have people from? Can I have you use the chat box? Oh, wonderful, Mithun. I think we've got the audio.
सो गया गा दो ना
जाग जाएगा
सिर्फ 2 लाइन प्लीज
लग जा गले के फिर ये हंसी रात हो न हो शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो।
मिश्रा जी
जी सर।
ये क्या फाइलिंग है? हाँ हेलो
हेलो
हाँ 1 मिनट होल्ड करो। अब क्या यही खड़े रहेंगे?
सॉरी सर।
हाँ बोलो।
सब ठीक तो है?
हाँ ठीक है।
हमको मिली है आज ये घड़ियां नसीब से। वो ठीक हुआ? जी भर के देख लीजिए हमको करीब से, फिर आपके नसीब में ये रात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात
पापा। अरे भाई लेट हो रहा है, चले? फिर ऑलवेज लेट। और कितना रोगी तुम? एक ही साल के लिए तो गया है नालायक। पास आइए कि हम नहीं आएंगे।
मत गाओ,
क्यों?
बेसुरे हो तुम।
फिर तुम्हें गा के सुनाओ।
पास आइए कि हम नहीं आएंगे बार बार, बाहें गले में डाल के हम रोले जार जार, आँखों से फिर ये प्यार की बरसात होना।
Your emotions trouble you only in those things which you call yours. I know at this moment, we're all feeling emotional just by emotionally connecting with the video. Life is a journey, a beautiful journey. It takes us to different stages. And yes, we have to move on one day. What is important is to know that we learn through each of these stages. It's quite ironical that whichever stage that we are in, we always feel that we either want to move on to the next stage or we want to relive what we have already lived, because we feel that our current stage is the most difficult. And in this contemplation of either to relive our stage or to move on, what we all forget is to live our present. The most important thing in our life, which is actually short, is to make memories. Pleasant, beautiful memories. But the question is, who would make these memories pleasant? It's you who need to decide to make these memories pleasant. On this note, I would like to move on to my session with a beautiful story. This story is about a strange wish. This story is about a woman who had done a lot of good deeds in her life. She had helped others and taken care of many people around her. And God was very happy with her service. God came up to her and told her, I want to grant you a wish before you die. You can ask me anything. Now, this woman could ask anything to God, but she had a strange wish. She asked God that before I die, I actually want to visit hell as well as heaven. God immediately granted this wish to her. The angel came up to the woman and asked her, do you want to visit hell first or heaven? The woman said, I would like to visit hell first. The angel immediately took the woman to hell. As the woman entered hell, she saw a vast, sumptuous banquet hall filled with yummy, delicious food, awesome drinks. And there were a lot of people sitting around the table. And she happened to observe that all those people were actually starving. They looked unhealthy, they looked unhappy. And she was questioned, why are they like this when there is such awesome food that has been served to them? She looked at the angel and asked her, what's wrong with these people? Why are they starving when there's so much of food in front of them? The angel smiled and said, why don't you look at the spoons which have been displayed on the table? The woman happened to look at the spoons, and she realized that the handles of the spoons were so long that it was practically impossible for them to feed themselves. The moment the woman happened to look at that, she said, this is hell. I do not want to be here. Take me to heaven immediately. The angel took the woman to heaven. As she entered heaven, she saw the same vast, sumptuous banquet hall filled with delicious food and awesome drinks, and a lot of people around the table. Now here she was surprised to see that people were actually happy and healthy. They were enjoying themselves. And immediately what she did was she looked at the spoons. And she was surprised to see that the spoons were the same, with equally long handles. Again, she was questioned. She looked at the angel and asked the angel, how come these people in heaven are happy having the same spoon with equally long handle? The angel had a smile on the face. She looked at the woman and said, in heaven, we feed each other. Now, this is something that touched my heart. I want each one of you here today to reflect back and tell me, what do you think is the moral of this story? I would request Vinay to put up 4 options for you to choose what is the moral of this story according to you. Over to you, Vinay. Before the poll is put up, you have 4 options. A, have the right resources to survive. B, be compassionate to be happy. Accept situations as they are. Life is always unfair.
So 30 seconds. And I'm really sorry for the video. It took some time, but I think you reached out to me offline, even I got some calls. So thank you very much for the help. I don't know. Sometimes feel that even the technology requires some intelligence.
Vincent, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, your audio is not clear, Mithun.
Okay, I'm saying that sorry for the video. It took some time. You called me and told me about needs to be done. So thank you very much. That's what I'll say.
All right.
Okay, I just ended the whole sample.
All right. So I have about 62% of people feeling be compassionate to be happy. But I also like this. People, about 36% of people have said accept situations as they are. Thank you so much, all of you, for responding to the poll. Just to connect with the story, if you accept situations as they are, then probably you might want to reflect back and see that you might actually starve because you might not know what to do with those spoons. Not literally, because if it's an Indian audience, they would practically eat with their hand. So that's on a lighter note. But yes, I'm quite happy to see a larger population here said that be compassionate to be happy. We all want to be happy in life. We all want to succeed. We all want to progress. But every time, if it's an I or a me, whatever you do is self-centered. Everything revolves around what you want to achieve. How people are feeling around you, who are associated with you, probably you might not be so interested or so concerned about what they are going through during your journey towards success. And you might still be successful. And if you are successful in this journey and you turn around and see, be rest assured, you will have only a handful of people who would be cheering for you or happy with your success. But you know what's human nature? We always want to believe that these people are jealous. They are not happy to see my success. But those handful of people could actually be your close family who probably would also do it due to obligation. But quite ironical when it is about a we and a us. And when you take people along with you and walk on the path of your success, eventually you have a lot of people achieving their journey of success along with you. And when you achieve success, be rest assured, when you turn around and see, the whole world will be cheering for you. They would be genuinely happy for you. Now that is happiness. That is satisfaction. That is where you feel that, yes, I have achieved what I wanted to achieve. We are all social animals. We all deal and play different roles in our life. Do we all agree? I play a role of a mother. I play a role of a professional. I'm a sibling. I am a peer. I'm a colleague, and several other roles. In all these roles today that we play and associate with different people, we associate with a lot of difficult people in our lives. I'm sure most of you would agree. And most of the time we feel we are not able to achieve certain things because of these difficult people. They don't understand. They don't understand what I'm feeling. They don't understand what they want from life, because of which I am not able to achieve what I want to achieve. Who are these difficult people in our life? Let's question this. And I would request Vinay to put my last poll for today. And I have restricted you all to 4 categories in terms of who are these difficult people in your life that you all deal with. Can you please take a quick minute to respond?
I like the first option. 30 more seconds, please.
Within your voice is breaking.
Breaking.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just check it out.
Is this better now, Nofel?
Yeah, now very much.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fine.
Okay. Today
All
technology.
right. So this is very interesting. Okay. Are we done with the poll? Not yet, right, Mithun?
Not right. So
Okay.
we still have people putting in. So I think I'll give another 5 seconds.
All right.
Okay, 1 more second and then we stop. Okay, I just closed it.
All right, amazing. And you know, it's a little surprising to see the most difficult people in our life is our family. Now, I'm not going to dig deeper into and ask you who is that family member who's actually the most difficult people or person in your life. But yes, you know, I have equal percentage for the entire system. So I'm bogged down by the entire system. And yes, the person who always troubles me is my boss or my business associate. So thank you so much. Good to see what your experience is. And every time I do, you know, ask this question in my corporate sessions, 90% of the people tell me that the most difficult people that they have to deal with is their manager, right? And it's quite spontaneous that the response comes from. Yes, coming back to why I ask these questions to all of you, it's very nice to know that why you feel that these people are difficult. But tell me something. Have you surprised yourself with your own behavior at times? You intended to do something, and the way you actually did and what you actually did was absolutely the opposite of what you intended to do. You didn't want to hurt somebody, but you actually did that. Your mind tells you, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And that's exactly what you do. And then you say, oh man, I should not have done it, right? Now remember, the most difficult person is not your family. It's not your manager. It's not the system. The difficult person is you. And when I say it's you as a human being. We all human beings are a bundle of emotions, and we surprise ourselves with our own behavior, which is unpredictable. If we do not have emotions, we would be quite predictable in what we would do. We always want to fix others. We always want to tell the other person what they need to do right. But have I reflected internally and said, what is it that I need to do? I need to work on to make sure that this situation works for me. Why is the blame always on the other person, that because of you, I am not able to achieve what I want to achieve? It's your emotional caught up, which is not allowing you to achieve. So it's high time that we reflect into our own house first, fix it, and then probably try to fix the other difficult people who we all are dealing with. Secondly, we always want to control somebody else's behavior. We always want to tell them, do this, huh? Only when you do this, you are going to achieve something. We have our experiences. We have our own, in a slang in Hindi, which we say gyan, which we want to give the other person. You remember one thing is that you do not have control over somebody else's behavior. What you always want to control, what you have control over is your own behavior, which means I need to work on myself first for me to be able to work on with somebody else or guide them through their behaviors. If we always keep complaining about the people around us, the society, the family around us, it is not going to change. You have to change yourself. But remember, never change yourself just because somebody else wants you to change. The change has to come from within. You need to realize there is a need for me to change. There is a need for me to work on my behavior. And how does that happen? That will only happen when you dig deeper into your emotional self. Your brain guides you differently. Your emotions guide you differently. You need to spend time over yourself and understand yourself more. That's how you will know. But ironically, we all love in this so-called Alice in a Wonderland. You know what's Alice in Wonderland, right? For people who don't know, it's like a Prince Charming coming on a white horse and getting married to you, and they live happily ever after. I want a perfect husband, a perfect family, lovely children, beautiful house, 2 cars, and an X amount of bank balance. Life is so simple. Why do we complicate it? But when reality hits you and hits you hard, that's when you come out of your dreamland and you're not able to face reality. And reality is much different from what your dreamland is. You have to work hard and go through pain to achieve your dream, your dreamland or the life that you've dreamt of. You need to put in effort for that. And I'm sure everybody has experienced that, in your lives so far. But it's very, nice to see that we always say that, I got married to the right life partner. I've selected. But let me ask this question to all of you. Can you select people in your life who you want to live with? Most of the time, it's a no. Can I choose my parents? I cannot. Can I choose my siblings, my relatives, my family? I cannot. Can I choose my friends? Yes, to a larger extent, I do it. But once I'm friendly and I realize that this friend is no good, most of the times we are emotionally connected and I cannot connect with this friend. As they say in Hindi again, har ek friend zaruri hota hai. But yes, there are few people in our life who we can choose. Can you choose your manager? Boss, you cannot choose your manager. Can you choose the project you want to work in? You cannot. I can choose my life partner. And as you know, we always have, and especially from an Indian context, you have 2 kinds of marriages that we have. Yeah, the so-called arranged marriage and the so-called love marriage. It's funny. Arranged marriages are better because you're anyways, moving on with your life with an alien, right? You discover the other person in that journey of yours. So you're not having too much of expectations. But when you have a love marriage, you're getting married to somebody who you consciously wanted to get married to, and you know that person. Be rest assured, after a couple of months or a year, you question yourself and say, did I really get married to you and I wanted to get married to you? And mind you, this emotion is mutual, shared mutually. But you still have people celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Huh? The whole family gathering, lot of selfies and family photos, everybody happy. How does this happen? 50 long years. Wow. Yeah. I'm counting. We are in 15 right now. It's amazing. Another association in your life, and I would relate to all the women audience today who are as my participants. One person who's very, very dear to us. Can you guess who I'm talking about? This is your housemaid. We might hate her because of her leave schedule. We hate her because she's not clean. We hate her because sometimes she back answers. She's not doing a good job. But tell me one thing, can you live without her? The day she is on an unplanned leave, that is the day you miss her the most. The day she goes on a 10-day leave, you would have cursed her throughout for 10 days. But when she comes back, how much ever you have cursed her, how much ever you feel like, screaming at her, you will open the door with a smile, a little short of doing an aarti to her, isn't it? How do these relationships and associations work? And if you associate yourself in different angles and different associations of our life, we have to deal with people who probably are, as we said, are difficult to deal with. We don't get along with them. And as I was referring to marriage, a beautiful association, it works because we want it to work. We mutually want it to work. It is a beautiful bond of love, respect, and emotions. Together makes two individuals who are totally different walking the path together successfully and then probably celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Right? So that's the beautiful journey that we all want to walk on in every spectrum of our life, which need not be perfect, but we make it perfect with an emotional bond. And that is the point that I was trying to drive here, friends, that it is very important to note that we cannot choose people in our life. We have several associations. We have to get connected with them emotionally for us to be able to make sure that that relationship works. If you do not want that relationship to work, it will never work. And that requires a well balance of your emotions to begin with, which are able to deal with the emotions of the other person. Again, coming back to the different roles that we have, and I'm sure I have close to 300 plus people today as my participants. And all of you would either be students, mothers, professionals, senior citizens. We all go through different emotional traumas in our life. I would like to touch base upon few to try and see most of the time what is the mindset that we are in. Children. I've not put some great pictures of children here. Both of them seem to be absolutely tensed and worried. Children have their own state of mind, their own pressures. You have to live my dream of becoming an engineer because I always wanted to be an engineer, but I could not because of whatever reasons that I had. I want to live my dream through my children. You have to score well in academics. You have to be the most obedient person because we are a well-reputed family. You cannot get into bad habits or any other nuances. It is not good because that does not associate with our family. You have to be the most obedient child. There are so many expectations from so many people that the state of mind of this child is what? Caught up, pressurized, want to set free because the child is always been told that you cannot question me, you have to listen to me because I am your parent, I am your family, I have more experience, and the moment you talk, you are disrespecting me. So we don't give an option to a child to express what he or she is feeling in the first place. Aren't we just tying up their wings and not allowing them to fly the way they want to? Parents, while I talk about children, I have parents who have a different mindset altogether. They are in constant social pressure. What is the social pressure? Everybody, all the parents in your class are commenting on your percentage. I need to tell them that, you always get more than, I don't know what the number now is, like 98, 99%. You also get a 90 or just no good. What is this social pressure all about? Okay, forget the class. You at least have to be the topmost in all your cousins. What's this pressure all about? What's this comparison all about? Look at your brother. He's doing so well. Why are you, not able to do it? What is this social pressure? You better become a doctor. We have a hospital. Who's going to run it? Also get married to one. Look at the pressure of expectation that we are putting up on our kids. But forget them. What are you going through as a parent in your mind? I am getting pressurized, stressed, under social pressure. I don't know. I feel restless. I'm constantly on fire emotionally. I don't know how to deal with this. And every time my child scores, or gets a poor score, I feel I'm a bad parent. Wow. a percentage of a child actually determines your parenting skill, is what you're judging yourself upon. Homemakers. Do I really need to talk about this? I'm sure most of the participants here today are homemakers. The very fact, what are the questions that go on in their mind? What is their state of affairs? I don't know my worth. I'm always questioning it. I left my job, my career for my family. Nobody seems to be bothered about it. I don't get my me time. I have lost my identity. I am tired of doing the same things again and again and again, feeling that I'm doing a thankless job because I don't get appreciated for it. Who am I? What is the state of mind of homemakers? Mentally, emotionally drained out, always seeking for appreciation from others, always wondering whether they did the right thing by not, going on and having a career for themselves. High on emotions most of the time. Working professionals is a different ball game altogether, right? Different sectors. What am I doing in a company which has only politics, only negativity? People are only preferred culturally, and there's a huge culture gender bias. I've been paid peanuts. I'm working for like 14 hours a day. I was a normal teacher having a great time in school with my children. All of a sudden, at this age, when I am like 50, I have to get used to this new medium of computer and Zoom and share screen. I can't do it. Don't pressurize me. How can't you do it? You have others who are doing it. You better do it. Otherwise, you lose your job. I have to hang around with my seniors for me to be in good books so that I get a promotion. Performance doesn't really matter. These are the questions that constantly run in our mind. And what is the state of mind of professionals? Stressed, pressurized, anxious, frustrated, irritated, questioning their profession today. Am I in the right company, the right profession? Do I call it quits? Working mothers, and I closely associate with this. That's a different trauma that everybody goes through, constant struggle of trying to strike out a balance between home and children and work. I do not get quality time with my kids. Morning when I leave to office, my child is sleeping. Evening when I come back, my child is sleeping. My child doesn't recognize me. That's a huge emotional stress that probably a mother goes through. I did not get a promotion because I've just come back from my maternity leave. I have been denied a very crucial, important project because I have a toddler who I need to go and pick up from the crush, and I can't stay long hours at work. I cannot give enough time at home in my kitchen because most of the time I'm at work. I'm struggling. It is my child's annual day and I have a client who's visiting. I have a client, dinner that day. I can't go to my child's school. Imagine the mental trauma and stress that you all are going through as mothers, trying to do each of your jobs perfectly, but emotionally you are failing. Always trying to question and call it quits. Saying, do I leave my job? I'm not able to balance this at all. Drained mentally and emotionally. Senior citizens. Now, this is another difficult stage. I think this is one of the most difficult stages for all those who are in, because the acceptance of retirement and slowing down and relaxing is very, very difficult, because almost 60 years of your life, you have been on a marathon, managing the show completely. And all of a sudden, you've asked to slow down. I don't know how to occupy myself now. I don't know how, how I need to converse with my children, because they don't appreciate my experiences, my suggestions, or my guidance, because they tell me that you are all from a different context. This doesn't fit into my context today. That my children have left me and gone. I'm staying here all alone. My children have no time for me. I feel lonely. What is their state of mind? Lonely, hurt, depressed, very high on emotions, questioning that, I think I should move on. Very, very difficult. Now, I have touched several spectrums of stages in our life. I know there are many, but I just tried to select a few, and I wanted to see and let you know that how we all are stressed and associated with emotions with the current life that we are living, and we are all dealing with it. What is the manifestation of this stress that we are all going through? The manifestation is that there are arguments, there are fights, there are alcoholic addictions, there are frustrations, screaming all around, to an extent where there are suicides. It hurts, it pains terribly that young children go through it. And the parents are in a big question mark, trying to understand what happened. Everything was normal. Why did the child do it? It's all a manifestation of the struggle that goes in your mind given your current situation. At this stage, I would like to play the next video. And again, my sincere request to everybody here, do not go with the lyrics. And I'm sure as you see the video, you will be able to connect with the emotion in this particular video. So can I have the next video, please?
Yes, I'm doing that. And now I know what to do. So you can hear, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
अरे यार मीनल, वो मेरा वाला गाना सुना देना।
48 साल से एक ही गाना सुनकर बोर नहीं हुए?
48 साल से तुम्हारे साथ बोर हुआ क्या?
अच्छा, तो कर लेते ना अपने ललिता के साथ शादी।
हाँ, पर उसको गाना गाना नहीं आता था ना।
आज जाने की जिद ना करो, आज जाने की जिद ना।
मीनल,
सर फॉर्मेलिटीज तो होती रहेंगी, आप प्लीज चलिए।
धन्यवाद।
वेलकम सर, आप जाइए। I've seen the reports. They're shifted to the
उपाध्याय।
डॉक्टर साहब, मीनल
जी ये हुआ कैसे?
वो गाना गा रही थी और अचानक।
देखिए, दी ऑपरेशन हैज बीन डन मिस्टर उपाध्याय, पर अगर आप वही गाना दोबारा गा दे तो शायद, यू नेवर नो।
आज जाने की जिद ना करो, आज
इतना बेसुरा गाओगे तो सच में जाना पड़ेगा।
मिस्टर उपाध्याय, ये इन्हीं का आइडिया था। मैम अब बिल्कुल ठीक है और दिवाली आप अपने घर पे ही मनाएंगे।
ललिता होती तो मेरे साथ ऐसा कभी नहीं करती।
हम जानते हैं कि घर जैसी कोई जगह।
All right. Again, an emotional video, but something which is very, very predominant in this video is that we all live in our mindsets, our emotional struggles, in our reality, but sometimes life takes you unguarded. Everything topples upside down. Life comes in front of you with all the things which are unplanned. And what we were dealing with the emotions, surprise you, and you don't know how to deal with the unplanned. This is our situation today. We don't know how to deal with this. We are struggling with marks and behaviors of our children. The schools are shut. We're trying to get adjusted to the new medium. We were struggling and saying that our companies are paying us peanuts. I don't have a job today. Or I have a 50% salary cut. We were struggling to prove our self-worth, try to do something, which I feel happy about. But what have I ended up doing? Cooking 5 meals a day. Because everybody is in the house. I can deal with my finances for the next 6 months alone. I don't have money to pay my children's fees. I have 2 children. I'm staying in a rented house and I have lost my job. My spouse doesn't work. What do I do? It is very, very difficult. I have 3 to 4 EMIs which I have to pay. Falling sick has become a taboo. Masks and sanitizers have entered our life, and very, very unfortunate, death is just a number today. Whom do I speak to? What do I speak? Will they be able to help me? Every household has their own unique story today to tell. Even one of the reasons, friends, why I selected emotional intelligence as one of the topics, because it is utmost important for us today to take care of our health, because health has taken over all the other aspirations and materialistic positions or possessions that we all were looking forward to. Our mental or our emotional health has become so important that it is very important for us to invest in it, for us to be able to have a balanced state of mind, to be able to be resilient with self and others, and be able to face through a situation like this gracefully. And that's where emotional intelligence comes into the picture. What is emotional intelligence? It's emotions and intelligence, which means how can you use your emotions intelligently or intellectually. That is emotional intelligence all about. If I have to go through Daniel Goleman's definition of emotional intelligence, I would need a quick 1 minute because my battery is running low. I'll just come back in 1 minute, if you don't mind. And I really hope this is okay. What is emotional intelligence? It's a capacity of recognizing my own feelings. What am I feeling at this particular moment? Having an awareness about self. Am I able to motivate myself as well as others with my emotional context and be able to manage the other person's emotions as well? Not only within me, but within my relationships as well. Simple. Don't complicate it. Do I know what emotions I'm going through? Am I able to understand what emotions the other person is going? And can I make it work for a larger, better outcome? Is a simple definition of emotional intelligence. If I have to go back and talk about the key components of emotional intelligence, will trigger you to a lot of questions. These are the key components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills. I will quickly run you through what each one of them are. Self-awareness, who are you? What is your intention? What do you want to do? Are you aware of your self strengths and weaknesses? Are you aware about your trigger points where you lose control of your emotions? Are you aware of that? That's self-awareness. How do I get to know? You need to follow certain techniques for that. It cannot be covered in a 1-hour session, but you need to be aware of yourself first to be able to deal with others. Self-regulation. Do I tend to react more often? And that's a question all of you have answered for me at the beginning of this workshop. Am I able to manage my emotions better? I am angry. My brain is telling me, go for it, go for it. Am I still able to control and say, no, let me not react. Let me take time. Let me respond. Can I do it? It cannot happen with a theoretical line here. There needs to be work that you need to do on yourself. Do you regret your behavior most of the times? And you also answered the poll at the beginning that, yes, I did feel ashamed of my behavior. I did feel frustrated. I did feel guilty. And if you're feeling so, then there's a lot of work that you need to do on yourself. Motivation. We all need motivation. We all need a pat on the back every time. But can I still be motivated if I don't have the pat on the back, which most of the times I don't? Because you're living for yourself. Don't depend your life on other people. If you start depending on other people for their feedback and for their pat on the back, you would never be happy. You need to have your own reasons to be happy. Don't get disappointed with failures. Ask yourself, do I get disappointed with failures? If the answer is yes, then you need to work on yourself. It is not the situation, it's not the failure, it's you who are not able to deal with it. Empathy, compassion. Do I need to understand other person's point of view? Do I need to invest in them in the first place? Do I just shoo those people off because they're always negative? They're, talking negative things. They're making my mind negative. Is that the best thing to do? Maybe some situations, yes, that's the best thing to do. But otherwise, you have to be compassionate to people because they are different people. They may not be like you. Their thought process, their reality, their situation is different. You cannot curse them. You cannot leave them alone. You got to bless them. You got to look at them and say, hey, you know what? I need to understand from where are you coming from? Can you deal with it? Can you show empathy? Can you understand that other person's point of view? And if you're not doing it, you have to start doing it. And only when you start doing it, you'll understand. But how will you start doing it? Only when you know from where the other person is coming from. What is the other person's behavior? And that's how you'll get to know. Social skills. Am I a good listener? It's a question you need to ask. Most of the times, we are ready with our answers. We always want to tell the other person what he or she needs to do. And when they finish half of their sentence, we are already assumed what they are trying to tell us. But you don't have to do that. Their perspective might be different. If you want relationships to work and if you want to influence the other people, you got to be a good listener. You need to have the ability to resolve conflict. You have to be persuasive. And all these things will only come when you feel that that relationship and association is important. Are you able to do it is a question you need to ask yourself. A very beautiful video coming up next, and that's my last video for now. It's a beautiful video, an amalgamation of all the components that I thought I just now showed you, wherein, I miss people. I don't miss people when every day they send me a good morning message or a good night message. Sometimes it gets very annoying on WhatsApp. But let me tell you that the day you don't receive that message, you miss in terms of, I hope everything is okay. How come I've not got that message? It's a beautiful video which shows empathy, which shows relationship and social skills. So let's quickly have a look at this video.
भैया ने भी नहीं भेजा।
अच्छा, और बाकी लोग?
किसी ने भी नहीं। मतलब दीदी, मामा, चाची, किसी ने भी नहीं भेजा।
अच्छा, सुभाष मामा?
सुभाष मामा रोज गुड मॉर्निंग के फॉरवर्ड भेजते हैं, आज वो भी।
बिजी होंगे ना?
व्हाट बिजी, आज दिवाली है।
अच्छा देखो, बड़बड़ाना बंद करो, चलो ये दिए बाहर रखे हो। शक्ल तो देखो।
I can't believe it।
चाचू को लगा हम भूल गए।
इतनी बड़ी हो गई तू। हैप्पी दिवाली।
थैंक यू।
हैप्पी दिवाली छोटे। हैप्पी दिवाली। सब लोग अचानक से कैसे ना, छोटे फैमिली ग्रुप पे दिवाली विश हो सकती है, मुंह मीठा नहीं कर सकते। सीख इससे कुछ।
जितनी बड़ी फैमिली उतनी बड़ी दिवाली। तो चलो सब साथ मनाएं कैडबरी सेलिब्रेशंस।
Thank you, Mithun, for playing this beautiful video for all of us.
You're welcome.
All right. So I know I've played quite emotionally intense videos, and this video is more reflecting on the key components, because we always try to make our life complicated. Life is simple. When I accept people the way they are, when I accept myself the way I am, when I try to bridge the gap between the difference of two people, work on compassion, work on empathy, I think I will have fabulous relationship and fabulous social skills. Again, let me remind you what I told you earlier. You do not have control over somebody else's behavior. You have control over yours. Work on that. You will see the difference. And for that, you need to invest in your emotional intelligence journey. If you do not invest in that, you would not be able to reach up to that level of working on yourself as well as others. Why I should learn EI more? Because what we have done so far is only the introduction or getting an understanding of what EI is all about. Why do I need to know? Because I need to know who am I as a personality. I need to know my preferences, my trigger points. I should be able to assess if there is a change required in my behavior. Again, let me repeat, do not change because people want you to change or any of your association wants you to change. You change when you believe that you have to change. And that belief will come only when you do a reflection of self. Understanding different personality styles, pros and cons of each, because only when I understand that people are different, personalities are different, and they are different from who am I as a personality, I would be able to empathize with them more. Manage your emotions in your emotional quotient better to be able to manage your emotions well amongst relationships. Manage relationships to make them more resilient. If you start being if you're not flexible with your relationships, I'm sure that they would break, because any relationship, if it is stretched beyond a particular point, it will break. And that's why being more resilient in your approach definitely helps. At this stage, I would like to tell all of you that by and large, an introduction to EI is something that, comes to an end here. What we did from the beginning is simple. As I told you, I was going to keep this session very simple for each one of you to be able to understand what emotions are all about, how do they play with our mind, and how this manifests into our behavior, and how our behavior complicates the situations that we deal with. And that's why it is important for us to learn, right? And I hope you have loved this beautiful journey of mine on introduction to emotional intelligence. And I hope I was able to connect with your reality through this webinar right now, right? What I am going to be talking about next, because this is the first level of an introduction to EI. The next level is probably to get deeper and to get more intense and to be able to connect with yourself, your soul, and your reality. And what I would be telling is, I would be formally ending the webinar here in terms of the content. But I would like to tell each one of you that if you have experienced the need of learning more about emotional intelligence, here is the platform for you, which I would be giving all of you. This platform is about getting deeper into the concept. I am announcing a workshop which is going to be on 27th, and I think Mithun will give all the details to you on emotional intelligence. But what is it that would be covered in this workshop is something that I will talk about right now. The audience level for this particular workshop is 16 plus. Now, frankly,
I think we just lost her. Just kindly hold on. Everyone, just please stay into the chat. And I think thank you very much. I'm seeing so much of positive messages, about the feedback. A lot of you loved it. Thank you very much, all of you who are writing in. Please stay back, as she talks about the workshop and the details. And I'll come back and explain you what you can do. We had nearly 320 odd people. That's great. That's a huge number. And some of you were, I think, asking about, can I get the recording? I joined in late. Of course, yes. We just did mention that the recording of this session will be emailed across to you by coming week. So do not worry. In case even if you have joined late or you missed something out of it, definitely you'll get. And I think some of you did mention about the soft copy of the presentation. There's no soft copy of the presentation, but a YouTube link with the recording that you just heard definitely will come in. And do not worry, all the question and answers will be towards the end. Kindly just hold on, definitely take all the questions. We have a lot of questions even from the social media where it is kind of getting broadcast live right now. So don't worry. I will definitely take up all the questions. Keep writing your questions into the Q&A box. Please keep mentioning that in the Q&A box. It's easier for us to pick up the questions. So kindly hold on till we come back. Thank you, Dimple. Thank you, Kanal. Thank you for your feedback. It means a lot. Yes, it was an intro on the subject, like Sampada mentioned, and it looks like she's back.
I'm sorry. I think, yeah, as you said, Mithun, technology, and sometimes it's just beyond your control. I'm very sorry, guys. I just got dropped off, Mithun. Okay, so I can take it on from here, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So for everybody, guys, I'm sorry about this, but let me continue from here. The audience level is going to be 16 years plus, while anybody and everybody can attend this session. But when I say 16, it's more because of the maturity level. It's an intense workshop, in-depth workshops. I'm sure, a 16 plus would be an ideal audience for this. It is going to be a 4-hour session, and we'll consciously keep it on a weekend so that, people are available. And whom shall this course benefit? To be very frank with you, anybody and everybody who's willing to learn and unlearn. You have to unlearn a lot of things to learn new things. And for those who come with an open mindset and want to hone on their emotional intelligence skills and want to succeed personally and professionally. And this would be an ideal workshop for them. What all does the workshop cover? Now, this is something I would like to spend about 2 minutes. Get an awareness on different behavioral communication styles and do a personality assessment. We would do a lot of inventories and a lot of assessments in this particular workshop, which will give you an awareness of who you are, what your personality is, and what are the things you need to work on. And you only get to know if you get to know what your personality is. We will also introduce you to different techniques, using which you'll be able to work with yourself. We also will be doing an intense understanding of people, their behaviors, and how you tend to respond to them. What are your triggers? Again, this is going to be for self and how you typically tend to work, amidst of relationships. You will also get to know your emotional quotient. What is your emotional quotient? Of course, using an inventory. This session will be in depth. Using this webinar as the starting point, we will move on to the next level, wherein, as I said, you will be able to understand whether you need to change. And again, you don't need to change because Sampada is asking you to change. You would want to change yourself once you experience that journey of understanding yourself better and the techniques of managing your emotions better. So yes, from here, I would request Mithun to take over. I leave you all with this very strong quote. And it's absolutely strong because it leaves you thinking. It requires a great command of knowledge to say nothing. Over to you, Mithun.
Thank you very much, Sampada. I think, like I was mentioning to all of you, that and I'm actually seeing this in those comments as well. That every time I see the video, there are tears rolling through my eyes. I think most of you got the same feeling, and I'm glad that so much of feedback that we saw. So thank you very much, everyone. I'll just go on to the slide. And this is about the workshop that Sampada just mentioned. Sampada, can you run this the PDF? There's some issue.
Oh yes, yes, I'll do it right away.
Today, technology has decided to give away hands and everything, with me at least.
That's the new normal. So I think the audience here should be okay with it. That's fine.
Right. And I'm requesting everybody to stay back, because we will definitely take all the questions that have come into the social media and into the Q&A box. So please keep writing your questions into the Q&A box. And also we are already on the time. So like I already mentioned, we will need another 20-25 minutes more. So sorry about that in case if you had some plans, but I'm sure based on the feedback that I'm seeing, you have all been engrossed into the session. Sorry about those technology glitches, but I think they are an important part of our life, and we need to definitely live with that. So sorry about that. Yeah, we were, like I was mentioning before, we had a lot of requests that why only photography related workshops or webinars. So we thought looking at current situation, current pandemic, like I was mentioning in my introduction, that why not look at these aspects as well. So we thought of the emotional intelligence workshop. It's going to be an online Zoom based session, the similar session that you are seeing right now, but more focused group and session. It will be a 4 hours including question and answer. It's on Sunday, which is September 27th, which is the subsequent next Sunday, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. That will be the duration, which it's going to be. And we were requesting Sampada that how can we make it interesting. So she said because online platforms are of course depending on how we engage the audience. So I'm sure if you have got connected now, you will get even more connected with a focus group. So that's how the session is going to be. Sampada, if you can move next. I want to give the details on this. So as usually we do, we wanted to also include some bonus for all those people who register with us, and that bonus is going to be thought catalog. Very interesting name, because this will be basically a list of reference links and list of books with a lot of information that Sampada is going to herself curate on, and it will be a PDF file which will be sent across in addition to everything. This is for the people who join the workshop. So that's going to be a very immense help, which will probably help you more from a self-help, self-learning as well perspective. Because like she rightly said, it is not just about some teacher teaching you, but also needing practice. And then what best can it be where you do some bit of more learning and take some help. And of course there will be help offline after that in case if anybody requires. But yeah, that's the bonus that will come in. And I'm sure a lot of you are asking, how much will the workshop cost? So the next so this is what it will cost. Just a very small amount of $8.99 for a 4-hour session, which includes inclusive of all the taxes. So what you will pay is just $8.99, which includes that session of 4 hours plus the bonus that I mentioned. The way to pay is all mentioned. The team will mention all that into the chat as well. The Razorpay link, there's Google Pay, there is QR code, there is bank details. So for all those who are interested in joining that session on Sunday, 27th of September, which is a Sunday, like I said, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Please do to register. This is a webinar special price, which will be there till end of this webinar. And like I mentioned, we will take all the questions. Do not worry. Do not do not go away. We would definitely want to address, because there may be a lot of questions that you may have, you don't want to express, but others have expressed you may want to hear. So please do the payment link is already up on the screen as well as in the chat. Kindly use it if you want to join for the workshop, right? Shri Kumar, if you're around, let's go with you first.
Thank you, Mithun. First of all, a big thank you to Sampada Prabhu for a fantastic webinar on emotional intelligence. Your impeccable style of delivering and sharing knowledge through your experience, insights, and perspectives has been of utmost value to each one of us here today. A very apt topic for all of us in this tough situation we are facing in 2020. As they say, knowledge is best understood when shared, and coming from someone like you, it's a class apart. Thank you once again, Sampada.
Thank you so much. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot, Sri Kumar. I'm glad
Yeah.
you were able to connect.
Thank you. On behalf of Ms. Sampada Prabhu and the entire team of Honeycomb Creative Support, we would like to take this opportunity to thank each one of you for investing your valuable time on a Saturday evening and participating in this webinar today. Hope this has widened your horizons in the journey of understanding emotional intelligence and how to deal with them. Honeycomb Creative Support has come up with this new venture, HSCS, that is Honeycomb School of Creative Studies. We at HSCS create platform for individuals who are excelled in different skill sets to share their knowledge through webinars and online workshops. Please feel free to contact us at naufil@honeycombindia.net or his number 9845128760, which will be mentioned in the chat. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, Honeycomb School of Creative Studies, to know more. I would like to thank all the participants who would be registering for the workshop, as well as who have participated in this webinar. Be rest assured that this would be your best decision of your life to explore the critical topics of how to handle emotions and tough situations under the great guidance of Sampada. Thank you once again and stay safe. Over to you, Mithun, for the question and answer session.
Thank you, Shri. I think, like I always mention, and whenever you do mention the vote of thanks, your smile takes out a lot of stress out of people.
Thank you, Mithun. Thank you so much.
I think a lot of people need to learn, how to keep smiling irrespective of the adversities. So I think that's very critical. Thank you, Shri. Okay, so like I mentioned, the payment options are there. It's $8.99. Like we mentioned, it's a meager amount, less than cost of a pizza for sure, for a time that you'll spend 4 hours, and that is going to give you deeper insights. So please do join in to those whoever is joining in. It will be definitely applicable till end of the webinar. But I will now jump into question and answer, Sampada, if you are okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I'll keep the screen on for people who would be interested to get the details, and we'll go with the Q&As. Yes, over to you, Mithun. Let me know.
Right, and I think a lot of you are asking about the question on the certificate. I think you might have missed when I gave the introduction. The certificate for this webinar, unfortunately, will not be there, but those who join for the workshop definitely will get a certificate, will get the learning, will get the bonus, will get, offhand support for those who want to, also look into it. So, do not worry, but for this webinar participation, there is not going to be a certificate, unfortunately. Okay, so just wanted to clarify. So I know there are lots and lots of questions, I just want to pick up all of them. So Gauri is asking, situations drive emotions and emotions drive what?
Emotions drive behaviors, as I said. So thank you so much for your question, Gauri. I mentioned the statement right at the beginning that situations drive emotions and emotions drive your behaviors. Now, this is very predominant that the way our brain is structured, it's usually that our emotions get, hijacked first before the processing happens in our brain. And because of our emotions getting hijacked, we tend to react to situations without thinking. And when we actually behave, we might not behave the way we actually want to behave. So the probability of your behavior could probably go out of your control. So I would say that emotion trigger your behavior, which could be your reactions to those situations. I hope I've answered your question.
Right, you did. So there is a question saying, glad to communicate with you people. I'm a teacher of English. My question is, being a teacher, how to control my emotions in certain places?
I think this is one question which everybody would ask here, that how do I control my emotions? Now, this might look like a selling point for my workshop, that please attend and that's what I'm going to be teaching you. But to be very frank with you, today's webinar was more on just understanding that there is a need for you to work on controlling your emotions. And how you do that is more by understanding what are your trigger points. And how do you understand your trigger points? By doing your assessment, behavioral personality assessment. And that's something that I definitely would be covering in my workshop today, because there needs to be effort that needs to be put in. Right? So that is that's one way for you to be aware that, okay, these are the places where I actually get triggered and I need to control them. However angry I am, I still need to have a smile on my face. And yes, I can empathize with you as you're a teacher. You'll have a bunch of students, and you with a new medium, how difficult it must be for you to dealing with that. So, yes, I think, you need to invest in yourself to dive deeper and understand your personality more, so that you are able to manage your personality better.
Right. I think Sarika had a question which probably you already answered, which was how do you define emotional intelligence in layman terms? I think, but even if you want to give a 1 minute brief again.
Yeah, again, I would not go with definitions with what, people have written, but in simple terms is how you're able to understand yourself. Are you able to, after knowing, understanding yourself, are you able to regulate yourself? Are you able to self-motivate, to be able to deal with people, understand them, and work on the relationships? I think, in short, our entire journey is all about that, isn't it? It's about self and other people, and how you very beautifully associate with them to walk on this path. So I think emotional intelligence is all about that. While it sounds simple, it's not as simple, I think all of us know here, and that's exactly why all of us are here today.
Right. Rakesh wants to ask you, corrupt people are the only trouble. They behave irrationally. How do you handle them?
Now, you have to define what corrupt people mean. Again, I would tell you, I'm not defending the people out there, but if a person is not like you, okay, and whose thought process is very different, which is, very different from that of yours, you might label that person as corrupt. We all are brought up with a lot of self-beliefs and value system depending on our family background and how you have been brought up in your childhood, and that actually formalizes your belief system. Based on that, we decide what is white and what is black, right? What we forget in today's world is we don't have to deal with black and white at all. We are all dealing with the gray part. Now, this gray part is complicated, isn't it? Because if I try to judge people on a black and white, then everybody around us is corrupt. Can I be empathetic to the gray part? I think once you do that, you'll be able to deal with these people beautifully. So, understanding how to determine that gray part is something you need to invest in. It's not very easy. Life will be easier having these people around you and still you not getting impacted by that, and you're still sailing through that situation. I think that is something what emotional intelligence is all about.
Right, absolutely, I agree. They are there everywhere. Rachel did ask a question. It's a very generic question. How can we control our emotions?
Yeah, so I think it's a very similar question which you asked me earlier, Mithun, saying that,
Sorry, there's a follow-up question after that.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't want to talk to a person and have grudges against that person. And we know that he or she has done it wrong. To take your seat by saying any kind of lies. So what should we do at that point?
If you had seen the last quote of mine, which I left all of you with, it takes great amount of knowledge to say nothing, right? Sometimes in certain situations, you got to consciously be quiet so that you come in terms with your emotions much better and deal with the situation a little later when you are in control of your self emotions. If you go to deal with a particular situation head on, at that point in time, when you're really, really high on emotions, be rest assured you're going to mess up with the situation, the people, and the relations, right? Because most of the times it's like, I tear your clothes, you tear mine, we'll kill each other. Because both of you are going through the same kind of emotion. So it's better that you say nothing, allow your emotions to cool down, and then come back and deal with the people and the situation later, right? So that is something that I would like to tell you.
That's right. And then for all of those, who probably missed it or are still thinking, the payment options are still there for the September 27th, which is a Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The links are already there on your screen as well as in your chat for those of you who want to join us into the detailed workshop. Okay, Dimple has a very interesting question. How do you handle toxic bosses in office?
See, you can't categorize a boss differently, but personally I would say that I have been sitting on both the sides of the table. So I have been a subordinate, I've also been a boss. But typically when we are a subordinate, we always feel that the boss is toxic. we don't tend to like the boss, but the boss has its own situations, their their fires that they're dealing with. So are we able to empathize with them and sometimes just let them be, right? It's bless them and be aside and do what you're supposed to do rather than getting impacted with what they're doing. Again, I would like to reiterate, understanding other people and their realities will help you deal with your situations and your relationship with those people much easier, whether that person be your boss, your husband, or your peer or a colleague or any other family member. You're able to empathize with their reality more and deal with that relationship more in a much better manner.
Right. Emmeline from Philippines wants to know what is the best coping mechanism to overcome emotional imbalances.
Quickly, there are a lot of things that work, Melanie. I would be sharing a lot of these and we would be practicing a lot of these in my workshop as well. But yes, coping with emotional imbalances, quick things like, doing some meditation, doing some chanting, spending time with yourself. When I say yourself, being away from all the social media, being away from the biggest monster that you have in your life, that's your cell phone, and connected to Wi-Fi, that becomes even worse. So being to yourself, giving yourself time, and whoever you want to chant about, just focus on that and drive away all the other things which are impacting you negatively. Give yourself time. That will help your emotions stabilize. And that's where the rational thinking starts, right? Every time if there's an emotional thinking, you tend to react and make the situations worse. Rational thinking, once you get into it, you will be able to derive to a logic. One thing we all need to remember that relationships don't work on metrics, they don't work on largely on practicality, they don't work on any logic. Yeah, they work on emotions, and you have to balance them out well. And that's where giving time to yourself will help it better, rather than expecting that the other person will deal with the situation for you. Will not happen. You'll have to deal it with yourself. So give yourself time by switching over to different means. It could be meditation or going for a morning walk and just listening to some soothing music, and this is something will help you connect with your emotions better and deal with them better.
Right. There's a question on will there be any kind of EI assessment to know where we stand?
Yes, there would be. Absolutely, there would be.
Okay. And if we cannot control on some emotions, what do you do? What do you do to cover in the workshop?
If you cannot control over, of course, that's what I'm trying to tell you. We are going to teach you techniques for you to be able to be aware of which are those emotions you cannot control in what situations. What are the things that trigger you to do that? The moment you know those situations, the future situations that you come across, you would not react to them because you know they are your trigger points. You'll be able to balance them well. But you have to be aware of what those situations are. So investing in that becomes more important. What we're doing is we just want the outcome, but that's going to be a journey to reach that outcome. So that's where investing in yourself becomes very, very important. So I would definitely recommend for all the people to invest, one of your Sundays in a detailed workshop to be able to be aware of yourself, your personality. And I think that would be your first step towards your personal development.
Right, and I just realized that there was a small error in the Razorpay link that has been corrected. The amount mentioned was different. So, for those who have paid, I'll definitely reach out to you. But right now it's been fixed. Okay, there are questions on, is emotional intelligence a part of one's personality? If yes, how do you enhance it?
Absolutely, it's a part of your personality. But we have all these flares like intelligent quotient, we have the happiness quotient, we have the emotional quotient. See, all these are interrelated. But when I talk about emotional intelligence, how do I enhance it? I enhance it by better understanding my emotions, labeling your emotions, reframing. There's a beautiful phrase called as reframing. When I say reframing, is like taking out this frame and wearing another frame and looking at perspectives differently. The moment I wear a different frame, I start looking at things differently. And and these are the things which will be taught to you in the workshop. How do you do all these things? And that's how you enhance your emotional intelligence skills. So I hope I've answered that, Mithun.
Right. There's an interesting question on, does everyone need emotional intelligence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Point blank. There are no further discussions on this. You need emotional intelligence because we are monsters with emotions. And when I call ourselves monsters, I call ourselves monsters because, our emotions don't be in our control. To make this monster a human being, you have to invest in your emotional intelligence, right? If to be very frank with you, if there is, there's a nice little section in your brain which is called as the amygdala. And if, experiments have proven that if the amygdala is taken out from your brain, you are absolutely, you don't have any emotional vibes in you at all. You don't react or you don't trigger to any emotions that happen to you. So the moment you have that in the brain, and human beings have that, which means we are complex personalities. We are, and the moment emotions come in the definition of a personality, you have to work on them. You have to manage them because, the intelligent or practical thinking happens much later. The emotional thinking happens first. So for you to manage that, you need to work on it. So it's required for everybody. Yes.
Right. Rachna wants to know how to stay away from people who gossip about others without having any kind of constructive things they do.
It's not about how to stay away. It's your decision to stay away. Simple. If you decide that you do not want to do something, you don't do it. I have a whole set of group of people who will gossip. Okay, whether it's a corporate, they sit and gossip about their managers, their projects, about the company, or I have a group of, women sitting and gossiping about their mother-in-laws or their, husbands. It's my decision whether I want to sit with them and add on to it just because I need to be friendly with them, or it's my decision to choose not to say anything, right? You don't have to agree, you don't have to disagree. It's a choice that you have to make. And this is what requires a strong amount of resilience from your side, saying, I am not going to get involved in the conversation because I have better things to deal with. This is the least thing that I would deal with because that adds to your negativity. You bless them and say, God bless them. Let them continue. I would not join the game until and unless you're in a position where you can bring in a change.
Right. There's a question on how to tackle criticism.
How to tackle criticism? Smile and say thank you. Because everybody who criticizes you will have a reason to do that. And the reason is their own. And it's their own reason. You don't have to agree or disagree with it. The moment somebody comes and tells you, take it as a feedback. Say thank you. Reflect back on what they have said. If you feel they were genuine, work on yourself. If you feel what they said was not genuine, take the feedback and throw it in the dustbin. It's something for you to do, but don't do it before assessing it. Give it time. Invest time in assessing why they said it. But you don't have to get defensive and put the other person down and criticize the other person more. It's your choice. But I would suggest if anybody gives you a negative feedback, do not get into a defensive. Say thank you.
Right. If we cannot control on some emotions, what to do? Can you cover in the workshop?
Yes. that is definitely what's going to be covered. We're going to be giving you tips and techniques how you can work on certain situations and certain emotions which you absolutely can't deal with at the moment. And over a period of time, you will definitely realize that you're able to cope up with them much better.
Right. And
with
I
those
think,
techniques.
I see already more than 100 people still on, which is great. Thank you very much for all of you staying in. I'll take in a lot of more other questions as well. But for all of those who want to join the workshops, now that you have heard what the workshop is going to, the contents inside, and are convinced to join the workshop, please do join in. The payment links and the details are there on the screen. There was a small error into the Razor Pay. So for some of you, I will personally get in touch with you. But apart from that, thank you for a lot of you who are joining the workshop. Also, what I would like to mention is this is definitely worth the time. A lot of you did ask why on a morning instead of an evening or afternoon. But let me tell you that it is a very intense session. So you need to be typically very fresh when you attend the session, and not physically drained out towards the evening and try to do the workshop. So that's the reason why it is in morning. So in case if you can join, it will be very great if you can just manage your things at house, or if you're working on Sunday. But otherwise, we will probably do such sessions again, and then you can definitely join. Okay, Sarika, yes, I did just mention that the workshop will be planned at a future date after September 27th, when we will definitely keep you informed by emails, just in case if you cannot join us this time. Okay, how to deal with a bad day?
That's a very interesting question. How do you deal with a bad day? To be very frank with you, personally, what I like to do is, be to myself. I love to be to myself, take a nice shower, have a nice cup of coffee or have a glass of wine, whatever suits you best for the day, and try not to reflect back on things, what you have done during the day. If you have beautiful children at home, spend time with them. If you feel like, the best thing would be take your headphones and, listen to some nice soothing music, go out, take a walk, right? Try not to delve around what has happened during the day. Come back, wait for the next day. There's always a new beginning in the next day. I think when you're mentally and physically fresh, you are able to deal with things better. So after a bad day, spend time with your loved ones. Do what you feel like doing. Watch a lovely movie which you would have watched 100 times, but I think the 101th time also, that would relax you, right? So that is something that I would do, frankly, Mithun.
Right, I would also do the same. How do you deal with people who change their colors all the way? We don't control, we cannot have control over their behaviors too.
Oh, it's better to be away from them. Now, these are called very strange, passive-aggressive people. Not literally as the term, but these are very manipulative people who are very sweet in front of you. And, what goes on in their mind is completely different. The intention is completely different. And what they're actually showing right, in front is very different. The initial 2-3 times or 4 times, you might, not be able to gauge what kind of people they are. But, after the 4th time, the 5th time, you know what the person is. Be away from them. Absolutely be away. Because if you have the time and if that person is absolutely close to you, you might want to give that person a feedback and let them know that you are aware of what has happened earlier. But if you feel that there is no connection and if that person is not going to be a barrier for you to, achieve what you want to achieve, you can be away from these people. Because actually this is the most dangerous lot. It's nice that if you have people who, emotionally come and tell you that, what, I don't like you, I hate you. I appreciate these people because they're straightforward, at least. But the people who are the most dangerous are the ones who smile and say that, I love you, and you're the best person on this earth, you're my best friend, and then go and backstab you. The most dangerous people to be around with. So yes, I personally stay away and manage yourself better by doing that.
Right. I'll probably take last 5 questions in the interest of time. And then if there is any other questions that we are not answered, because there are some of them on the social media, so we'll give you a response there, so that you do definitely get those answers. But let me take last 5 questions. And I'm repeating again one more time for those of you who wish to join for the workshop. The payment links are, every kind of payment link, right from GPay to QR code to UPI to credit, debit, etc. All of that is mentioned onto the screens. Please do join the workshop. We had decided to keep this an absolute affordable value, so that you get maximum benefit, especially considering the pandemic situation that we are in. So it's definitely worthwhile, for the 4 hours that you'll put in, including the bonus, the support, and the knowledge that you'll get in. So I see already close to 90 odd people still sticking around. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if we have taken a lot of time beyond the 6:30 that we had promised, but I think I did not want to disturb Sampada, because this was a very intense session, like we mentioned, and the flow was going on very well, and most of you were getting connected as I was seeing the comments. I know that she was not looking at the comments, but thank you for showing a lot of love, a lot of feedback for this session. For all of those who are unable to join on September 27th, we'll definitely do a workshop again, and let you know, and you can definitely join it. Okay, there's a question on how to handle the rush of emotions that arises when facing people that triggers the past trauma.
See, it's very easier said than done, because we always say that let go and move on, right? But personally, if you ask me, I have worked tremendously on it, because as you start teaching a subject, you automatically start working on a lot of things yourself and practicing it quite unconsciously, to be very frank with you. The best part is let go. It was an incident. It was a situation. I know you were tremendously hurt, but you need to ask yourself one significant question. Is that relationship important to you, or what manifested out of that relationship because of a situation? And if it was a situation, I agree, it was an extreme situation, but it's happened and gone. We are all human beings. We all make mistakes. And when I say we all make mistakes, I make mistakes. And the moment I have the conviction to say that I make a mistake, also, then I should be able to forgive the other person, because the other person also would have been triggered with his emotions or her emotions at that given point in time. But if that relationship is very, very important to me, because that could have been done by my own sister, my own brother, my own close family, my best friend, or, a very, very, close colleague. Is that relationship important? And if that relationship is not important to you, then I think, you can just move on, let that be. But personally, we all live for people, guys. These are the assets that we collect in our lives. The more the people with you, the more happy a person you are. And that is what I strongly believe in. My happiness personally lies with people around me. And I am not saying that they all have to talk good about me. Let them be and assess you the way you are. That's fine. Don't do it because you want positive comments from them and appreciation from them. Do it because you love them. Do it because you feel happy they are into your life. And whatever they have done, they would have committed a murder. It is your greatness for you to go back, give that person a hug and say, you know what, we'll move on from here because you mean most to me, not what you did. And that's something that I would do with conviction, and that I say with conviction.
Right. Balaji, sir, thank you very much for your feedback. We definitely take a note. In this kind of webinar where there's a lot of people and we are always hard pressed for time, it's very difficult to do an interactive session. So the interaction happens more over the question and answer. But then definitely when you join for the workshop, if you're joining, that's going to be interactive, because that requires interaction, both ways. So do not worry. But yeah, feedback definitely taken. Thank you very much. And Anita, I know that you did ask about the questions if students can join. Yes, we'll reach out to you separately on on the workshop. What can we do for you? Just wait for, if you can just drop an email to events@honeycomb-india.net. The email address is mentioned into the screen right now, so you can please write there, and then we'll definitely take it up. We'll see what we can do for you. Okay, there is a question on children that, do you think giving too much liberty to children take benefit of it? So is little bit pressure necessary for children, or what do you think?
Now you're asking this question more to a mother than a facilitator, to be very frank with you. I'm a very strict parent, and though I teach emotional intelligence, I need to be, very, very, genuine to my soul when I give this answer. Yes, I believe that there needs to be a little bit of strictness to discipline them. But how much, to what extent? Because, the generation is different. The way we were brought up, probably we cannot bring our children up like that, because, there are different things that they are dealing with right now, which is largely beyond our control. But yes, personally, as I have seen as a mother, that you be their friend first. So even when there is, you're trying to correct them, and screaming at them, or guiding them, and being a principal in the house, they don't mind it, as long as they don't ignore it, right? But you have to be a little bit strict for you to bring in that discipline, at least up to a certain age. Because as I have been saying, that there are different stages in our life, and after one particular stage, when they are adults, and nowadays, during our time, when I was young, I would say that it was more up to 18 years. But now it's not the same. I think, post 15, 16, you have to let them be, because they want their own space. They want their own identity. They have their own questions. They have their own, questions running in their mind. They need their own space. You need to give that. They're also going through a lot of hormonal change within themselves. They might scream, they might shout. You have to understand that. Every time screaming might not help. But yes, up to a certain age, you have to be a strict parent to a larger extent, because that is what will be the core values that you're bringing into them about certain things. But beyond that, I think the best thing is trust your child. The moment you start trusting your child, even if your child does a mistake, your child will come and share it with you. Will look at you as a friend and would want you to help him or her come out of that mistake, or deal with that mistake appropriately. So I think parenting is a tough game. I cannot say these are the do's and these are the don'ts, because children are different, their behaviors are different, their requirements are different. Now I have two, and both of them are of a different temperament altogether. The way I need to deal with both of them is way different. I cannot have the same formula. So please, I think you have to understand your children and accordingly decide what parenting style you want to have with each one of them.
Right. Hari, you were mentioning that on the payment page we are asking too many personal details. You can do a GPay if you don't want to put in those details onto the Razorpay, if that's what you mean. You can definitely do a Google Pay on either of the numbers that is mentioned, but please do join for the workshop for sure. Okay, last 4 questions. Like I said, so Gauri was asking, isn't it contradictory once you say we should accept ourselves as they are, and how do we tackle with others if they are mean and I am emotional? Then I will have to change myself as an emotional, as I can't tackle with mean people, as they can't understand my emotional state at all.
My concern here, Gauri, is with the very fact of calling people mean. Why are they behaving, or why are they mean to you? Why are they doing that? What is their personality? What are their trigger points is something you need to understand. And when I made the statement that you be who you are, I also said that have an open mindset and see whether you need some change in your behavior, which is triggering a mean behavior from somebody else, which is your definition. You don't know because that being definition is yours. So is that change required? Is there a change required in you? If you have not done that self-exploration, then it's very difficult, isn't it? You know, a lot of people say, I am like this, accept it or leave it. I think then you're running away from your situations, right? All your situations are going to be like that. If you're not having an open mindset and you're not ready to change. But as I again very strongly said, just don't change because everybody else around you wants you to change. You have to believe that the change is required. And how do you do it? By analyzing yourself more and then empathizing with why the other person is, you know, according to you, being mean to you. There should be some reason to it, right? So if you understand that, then I think you'll be able to deal with your emotions and that those people also much better. So I think, you know, for such questions, I think the workshop is absolutely ideal because there you'll be able to relate in terms of what I'm saying right now.
Right. That's I think what I'm also wanted to say. So for those of you you know who want to join for the workshop, one last time I definitely want to mention that you know the Google Pay and the payment link is all onto your screens. Please do join. You know, it's a very small amount that you invest for 4 hours, but take a life you know, kind of learning and a support. And it's definitely going to be interactive. Do not worry about that. Also, you know, that there is a question on how from Abhishek. How do we differentiate between emotional quotient and emotional intelligence, and which skill comes under which? And please give me something so that I can help my parents understand the comparison scenario between children.
Abhishek, I think, you know, this is something which would need more than, you know, half a minute that I can answer your question about. So, you know, is there a possibility, Mithun, for us to connect offline so that I can have a conversation with Abhishek and, you know, help him understand a response to this?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, Abhishek, are you still on into the webinar? If yes, you know, yeah, great, Abhishek. So why don't you write an email or give us a number, and definitely she will call you back and
absolutely.
But then I would still request Abhishek, please do join in for the workshop, because you know, there are a lot of things that you will also learn, as well as I personally think that, you know, all of us joining together, sharing experience will also help you know, each other. It's not just about one person talking and others taking it with a pinch of salt. But I think you know, these are sessions which are more interactive, more experience sharing, and more you know, the more age that people go in, they have more wide experiences and probably, you know, able to definitely get back. So yeah, Abhishek, thank you very much for your email. Georgie, if you can just take that email address on the side, we'll definitely reach out to Abhishek.
I'll definitely reach out to you, Abhishek, and we'll have a detailed conversation over this.
Right. Okay, and thank you very much for a lot of you who have made the payment for the workshop. The receipt for the payment will reach out to you by coming week, and the link for the Zoom and all that information will reach out to you by a couple of days before the workshop. We'll also have a WhatsApp group you know, created, so that we are in touch, and you know, we can definitely do. Thank you, Gayatri, for joining for the workshop. Pleasure. Last two questions, Sampada.
Yeah.
Please complete this. As you said, situations drive emotions, and emotions drive to what?
I think I answered this, Mithun. This is something you already asked me. I think this is the first question that you asked me.
Oh, sorry. It looks like I missed.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens if we are emotionless at various unlikely places or points?
That's very dangerous. Huh? People might actually throw you out of the group saying nothing affects this person at all. Because, you know, emotions, largely we you know, communicate our emotions through body language. So it's okay if you're quiet, but your facial expressions and the way you behave communicate more than your words. So, you know, we are all, as I said, social animals. So for us to get connected with people, emotions is the only thing that connects the two. But, you know, there's a wrong assumption that intelligence connects people. Intelligence can drive a conversation and you can get into conversation for hours together. But the connect happens through emotions. And if you don't express your emotions, the connect will not happen, right? So maybe some relations, it's okay. Or some associations, it's perfectly fine because they really don't matter. But if this kind of behavior is there with relationships that really matters, then you're going to be in a very dangerous zone and it's going to be very difficult for you to deal with that.
Right. I think, Sampada, if you want to drink water, because you've been talking nonstop for the last 2 hours.
No problem. I'm good. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. I think a lot of people have put in extreme positive comments. I already see, I know, Sampada, you probably did not get a chance to.
No, I have not checked any comments.
But then, thank you, Dinesh, for your warm words. I know that, these things cannot be, condensed into a small webinar. This was, like Sampada mentioned, more of a, a nutshell to get into the deeper topic, and what is important is in anything. I mean, we do mention this even in the photography field, that anybody can teach you, but if you do not practice, if you do not preach what you practice, and if you do not practice what you learn, it is of course going to be difficult, because it will be another learning. So you should definitely make a point to learn, and joining the workshop I think is the best way forward. It's just $8.99. The details were already mentioned. It's already there on your screen. And I see nearly 70 people still on, which itself means, Sampada, that it was an wonderful session. I do not want to say this. This is what being told by all the participants, or most of them, who are there right now, because they were able to emotionally connect with their situations. And I think when we speak from heart, especially those videos, I saw a lot of feedback on that. Even if they did not understand Hindi, they were able to connect with the emotions. I think picture, like they say, connect with are much more powerful than the words. So naturally, whether there were captions or no captions, I think everybody was able to connect. I think that's something that is very powerful. Thank you very much, Sampada, for your time and for your absolute resolute to help a lot of people with respect to emotional intelligence, at least making them aware. And like I mentioned in my quote, awareness is very, very critical. If you are aware, you will be able to deal with it. It's never going to be one single mantra that you will do, you'll be told and you will be able to do. Like I said, practice is very much required. Thank you very much for your time. And before we go off, we want to, as usual, we do before we end, we want to run the national anthem. So request all of you to please stand up for the Indian national anthem. Vinay, if you can just plays the national anthem. Thank you. Vinay, we can't hear the music. I mean the sound. Thank you very much, Vinay, and thank you very much, everyone. Like you would have noticed, and this is our normal format, we do strongly believe in the diversity and culture and respect every religion, every thing. So we definitely do this. For those of you who have not joined our previous webinars, that's how we professionally conduct. Do definitely join us for a lot of such photography as well as non-photography based various webinars that like Sri Kumar mentioned, which will come in through Honeycomb School of Creative Studies.
Mithun, I'd just like to take a quick 1 minute.
Yeah, please.
I know it was quite encouraging to see that I had close to 70 people till the end. Thank you very much, each one of you, for being there. It really means a lot to me, because I think by the end of the day, what is important to me, my reward is that all of you took time and attended my session. I would sincerely like to thank Nofel, who is the founder and CEO of Honeycomb, because apart from Mithun, who's always been my driving factor, Nofel, you have, because of you, I think I am here today, because you really pushed me and said, no, Sampada, you got to do it. And that's the confidence you brought into me. So thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome, Sampada.
And kind of like this new medium, because, this was my first on the virtual medium. So thank you very much. And thanks to the entire Honeycomb team, Sri Kumar, Georgie, Mahashweta, Shanisha, Nivedita, everybody. Thank you so much, guys, for making this happen. And I really owe this to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
And don't forget Vinay.
Of course, Vinay. Yes, of course.
He's been the pillar for all.
He's the backbone, of course. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Thank you all. Bye then.
You all.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Bye bye.